Hello and welcome to our extended special, Trump's Iconic Moments. In this special, we'll take a closer look at some of the most memorable, controversial and downright bizarre events from former President Donald Trump's first term in office. As we await his return to the White House on January the 20th, we'll revisit moments that broke the internet, shook up international relations and sparked endless debate. From late-night tweets that kept the world guessing to pivotal policy decisions that continue to have lasting impacts, these moments offer a glimpse into one of the most unorthodox presidencies in recent history. Let's dive right in. First up on our list is the infamous Koffi tweet, an unexpected entry in the dictionary of Trumpisms. On May the 31st, 2017, then President Trump took to Twitter late at night, something we're all very used to, but this particular tweet read, "Despite the negative press, Koffi." And that was it. No further explanation, no punctuation, and no context. Within minutes, the internet lit up with confusion and humour. People speculated the tweet was a typo for coverage, or maybe it was some sort of covert code word. Whatever the case, the original tweet disappeared after several hours, prompting yet another tweet from Trump, who can figure out the true meaning of Koffi. Enjoy. In that moment, Koffi became more than just a random internet slip. It became a symbol of Trump's erratic and attention-grabbing social media presence. For days, if not weeks, mainstream media and late-night comedians toyed with theories. Some joked it was an ancient prophecy. Others believed it was simply a humorous slip. Ultimately, while it didn't reshape policy or diplomacy, it underscored how a few keystrokes from a sitting president could dominate headlines around the globe. Next, let's set our scene in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. In May 2017, President Trump joined Saudi King Salman and Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi for a ceremonial inauguration of a centre aimed at combating extremism. What the world didn't expect was the photo. All three leaders with their hands placed on a glowing orb, illuminating their faces in a rather otherworldly glow. Social media had a field day. Memes compared the leaders to a coven of wizards casting spells or characters in a fantasy novel. Wild theories flew around, suggesting the orb was a symbol of a secret global power or a step in some elaborate conspiracy. In reality, it was little more than a futuristic ceremonial prop for the opening. Still, the bizarre optics, those three prominent figures in dim lighting with this bright orb, turned a simple photo op into an instant viral sensation. Beyond the memes, critics used it to highlight Trump's relationships with controversial world leaders, questioning what he might be conjuring up. Behind closed doors, nevertheless, as far as visual moments go, the magic orb stands as one of the most memorable images from Trump's early presidency. It's no secret that President Trump's approach to diplomacy was anything but subtle. This was on full display in 2017 when tensions with North Korea reached a fever pitch. North Korean President Kim Jong-un's regime was ramping up missile tests and issuing fiery threats. Trump, never one to back down from a war of words, took to Twitter again, surprise, surprise, and asserted that his nuclear button was much bigger and more powerful than Kim's. This escalated an already precarious situation. Observers wondered if this rhetoric risked crossing the line from tough talk to provoking catastrophic conflict. Critics slammed the tweet as reckless and juvenile, arguing nuclear arsenals aren't something to boast about like new sports cars. Others saw it as a calculated show of resolve, consistent with Trump's maximalist negotiation style. Push the opponent to the brink, stepping back to negotiate. Whatever the interpretation, the bigger button moment cemented Trump's trademark brand of diplomacy, bold, unpredictable, and laced with personal bravado. Later on, US-North Korea relations would shift to historic summits, but at the time, the world collectively held its breath. Now onto a darker moment in 2017. Charlottesville, Virginia. A rally led by white nationalist groups turned deadly when a counter-protester was killed. The nation looked to President Trump for a strong condemnation of white supremacists. Instead, he stated there was blame on both sides, further noting there were very fine people on both sides. The backlash was immediate and intense. Critics argued the president had effectively equated neo-Nazis with those protesting against hate speech. Supporters claimed he was condemning violence in general, not endorsing extremists, but the damage was already done. Many saw it as a turning point, highlighting racial tensions and political polarization in America. 1 month after Charlottesville, Trump made his first address to the United Nations General Assembly in September 2017. Standing before representatives from almost every country on earth, he threatened to totally destroy North Korea if the United States was forced to defend itself or its allies. Nicknaming Kim Jong-un Rocket Man on the world stage, Trump's language was unprecedented in the usually diplomatic corridors of the UN. Some delegates gasped while others seemed bewildered. Critics worried the threat could push nuclear tensions to the brink. Supporters claimed it was about time an American president spoke plainly to rogue regimes. Turning to domestic policies, one of the lasting impacts of Trump's presidency was the reshaping of the US Supreme Court. In April 2017, Senate Republicans invoked what's commonly referred to as the nuclear option, reducing the vote threshold for Supreme Court confirmations from 60 to a simple majority of 51. This unprecedented move paved the way for smooth confirmation of Justice Neil Gorsuch, filling the seat vacated after the death of Justice Antonin Scalia. While this didn't start with Trump, partisan tensions over judicial nominations had been building for years. His presidency marked a pivotal escalation. The decision fundamentally changed how justices could be confirmed in the future. Critics warned it would lead to more extreme nominees on both sides of the aisle, undermining bipartisan compromise. Supporters, meanwhile, argued the filibuster was being abused to block qualified nominees. In June 2017, Trump made another headline-grabbing move by announcing the United States' withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement. Signed nearly every country in the world, the accord aimed to mitigate the worst impacts of climate change by reducing carbon emissions. Trump's argument, the deal was unfair to the United States, placed some burdensome regulations on American businesses and threatened jobs. Critics, including environmental groups, international allies, and even some within the US business community, argued that leaving would cede global leadership on climate issues to other nations, especially China. Many US states, cities, and corporations vowed to uphold the principles of the agreement, regardless of federal policy. The withdrawal generated substantial debate about America's role in global climate leadership, and it remains a key issue polarizing environmental policy decisions. Whether you view Trump as fulfilling a campaign promise or isolating the US from a crucial international effort, it was a hallmark decision that continues to ripple through global climate policy. On to another controversial executive move, the travel ban. Just days into his presidency in January 2017, Trump signed an executive order barring entry for citizens from 7 Muslim-majority countries and halting all refugee admissions for 120 days. Airports across the nation were thrown into chaos as travelers found themselves stranded or detained. Protests erupted coast to coast, with many decrying the ban as discriminatory or un-American. Legal challenges quickly ensued, and the court blocked part of the order, forcing the administration to issue reversed decisions. Ultimately, a watered-down version of the ban was upheld by the Supreme Court, but not without ongoing controversy and backlash. In May 2017, Trump dropped another bombshell, firing FBI Director James Comey, who was overseeing an investigation into possible Russian interference in the 2016 election. Initially, the White House pointed to Comey's handling of the Hillary Clinton email investigation as the reason. However, in a TV interview shortly after, Trump suggested that this Russia thing had indeed been a factor in his decision. The dismissal of the FBI director ignited a political firestorm, leading to the appointment of special counsel Robert Mueller. Over the following 2 years, Mueller investigation loomed large over the Trump White House, fueling endless speculation and media coverage. Supporters felt Trump had every right to fire Comey, while critics argued it was an obstruction of justice in plain sight. In the end, the Mueller report outlined numerous contacts between Russian operatives and the Trump campaign associates, but stopped short of charging a criminal conspiracy. Yet the Comey firing remains a defining moment that spurred one of the most scrutinized federal investigations in modern history. Lastly, we head to Trump's winter White House, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida. In early 2017, during a visit by Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, news broke of a North Korean missile test. Photos surfaced of Trump and Abe discussing sensitive national security matters in the middle of a crowded resort dining area, with guests looking on and staff bustling around them. Critics argued that such a high-stakes conversation should never take place in a publicly accessible space, raising questions about eavesdropping or even espionage risks. Others suggested the discussion wasn't as classified as it seemed, or that it was more about immediate coordination than deeply classified briefings. Still, the visuals weren't great. Members of the club snapping pictures, staff using cell phones, flashlights to review the documents. It fed the narrative of a president who sometimes blurred the lines between official business and personal interests. Whether it was a casual oversight or a serious breach of protocol, the Mar-a-Lago scene underscored Trump's unorthodox style of governing, often leaving the security apparatus scrambling. And there you have it, 10 iconic moments that shaped Donald Trump's first term in ways no one quite anticipated. From viral tweets to international showdowns, secret meetings at Mar-a-Lago to the nuclear option in the Senate, each incident left an indelible mark on the political landscape. Whether you view these moments as bold leadership or outright chaos, there's no denying that the Trump presidency was like any other in modern history. As January the 20th approaches and anticipation builds for Trump's new term, these flashpoints serve as a reminder of how quickly norms can shift and how every tweet or photo op can become a global talking point. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned here on NewsX for more coverage.